Today's social media segment is brought to you by Trap Chevrolet. We're always on your side.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. And you know, whenever we have updates from law enforcement, we want to get those to you as soon as we can. Very glad to welcome back to the show Lieutenant Ricky Hartley, Morgan City Police Department. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Keith. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you, sir. All right, let's talk a little bit about these multiple counts of aggravated cruelty that you guys stumbled upon.
Yes. Well, on March 13th, the evening hours of March 13th, our officers were called to the area of McDermott Street, the residents of McDermott Street. Concerned. It was initially a concern for the occupants of the residence. A food delivery person got there, noticed there were some perishable items on the front porch that wasn't picked up from past deliveries.
Right.
And of course, that raised concern with them. The officers arrived, attempted to make contact at the front door several times. No one answered. They proceeded to the side of the residence where, through open windows, they can see what they immediately identified as dead cats inside. They went to the back door and began knocking louder and more fiercely. Everything appeared to be closed up, which time the occupant of the residence then greeted them at the back door. She was identified as 71-year-old Miss Sherry Height. And Miss Height was asked about the dead cats that were seen in the rooms, and of course a very strong odor. Horrible odor was emitting from the residence. Officer asked Ms. Height if they could come inside to do a closer inspection of them, and she allowed them into her residence. Now, it was described that the residence was in horrible disarray. As Ms. Height began showing officers throughout her residence, they came across additional dead cats throughout her residence. That raised concern, of course. Ms. Height explained that she would travel to Baton Rouge and pick up these cats for rescue and bring them back home, and did not exactly know how they died, but she knew that they were there. Ms. Height was then questioned about the living conditions of the residents. She basically just explained she had cat food everywhere, open bags of food everywhere, which I'm sure contributed to the smell. Additionally, a search warrant was secured for her residence on the 14th. We did conduct the search warrant and came across additional dead cats in the residence, totaling, I believe it was in the rooms, which were eight, well, it was 14, 8, and then right. further search led them to an additional 14 cats that were in freezers inside the residence. The city was contacted. City sanitation. They came out. They assisted to remove the dead animals. Ms. Height was taken into custody at that time and questioned a little further about the conditions of the cats and how long they've been there. Ms. Height did make a statement that the cats that were in the freezer, she had plans to dispose of them later on and whatnot. So Ms. Height was booked into jail and awaited proceedings. Judicial proceedings.
Yeah, it looks like we got 23 counts of aggravated cruelty to animals. And again, it sounds like maybe, just maybe, she was thinking that she was doing a good thing by maybe kind of saving these cats or helping them. But I kind of wonder about her cognition, her ability to do that or care for them, and if there's some other medical issues for her, you know?
Yeah, well, Ms. Height appeared she was answering all the officers' questions that time, and any mental help that she may need I'm sure, or will be given to her through judicial proceedings.
Right, which we appreciate very, very much, by the way. Yeah, it just is, And so it seems like she was aware, like she knew that there were dead animals in the home. She was aware that there were dead. She put those animals, the dead cats, if you will, into the freezer. And my gosh, at the 23, 23 counts of that.
And from what, from what was explained, that several of the ones that were in a room they passed, and it has been some time, so they were already decaying. Areas like the beds, floors, couches, things like that.
Yeah, and so you kind of ask yourself how someone could kind of live in that environment, but people kind of normalize. They get used to that, and it's rather strange, but that may be the norm for her. It's just against the law, if you will. That
and very, very unhealthy. I mean, our guys to do a further inspection of residents had to suit up in hazmat suits, honestly, in breathing gear, because it was that horrible,
Yeah, as I was reading this report, it sounds like it. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
I'm sorry. I was done.
Yeah, and so interestingly enough, that's just when you know that, because you guys can take a lot. I mean, y'all are normally prepared for those kinds of things, but man, when you got to bring masks in to just be able to kind of review a house. But again, those animals that were in the home, the 8 that were dead, they were dead and for a long time and decaying. And so again, sad situation, but hopefully now we've got some correction to this kind of behavior, and we can get some people to pick up cats that they can take care of and actually make them a little bit better. Yeah.
Well, there was a cat that was able to be retrieved from the residence alive, which was with our animal rescue partners. They came and they were able to secure the cats give the cat what it needs.
Awesome. Lieutenant Ricky, we appreciate you so very much. Thanks for all the hard work that y'all do.
Thank you, Q. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, that'll do it for this segment, but don't go anywhere. A lot more right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.